carbohydrates or sugars or glucose, fructose, lactose, any of the oses, basically those will break down into your body into sugars, which then your body will just basically store as fat. Especially if you have higher insulin levels, the insulin itself will drive that sugar into fat cells, and so you're more of a fat storage machine than anything else. So if we can clear the sugars out, or at least decrease our carbohydrate consumption to 25 to 50 grams a day, that would help clear the carbohydrates out, and then your body has to look for a secondary type of energetic support, which would be your fat or ketones. Fat's going to break down into ketones because obviously when you're on a weight loss program or you're trying to lose weight, the last thing you want to do is lose your muscle mass, because muscle is going to burn calories just sitting around the house, 50 calories a day for 1 pound of muscle. So if you're losing muscle, you're also losing your ability to burn calories, and you're decreasing your metabolism. So what do we do? How do we do that? Well, you want to increase your fat intake, and we're talking about good fats. We're talking about unsaturated fats. We're talking about coconut oil, and we're talking about probably getting about 60% of your calories from fat, and probably 20 to 25% of your calories from proteins, or it might make it a little easier if you did a half of a gram to a gram of protein per pound of body weight. More likely a half a gram, but if it's easier, you can just try for 1 gram. And then probably 25 to 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, which isn't a lot, and you have to count things like fruit, and you have to count vegetables. So what makes it tends to make it easier is if you just try to eat paleo. And paleo, for the most part, is just going to be, if you can kill it or pick it, you can eat it. And that would be things, meats, lean meats, vegetables and fruits. Fruits, obviously, in moderation. But you just want to look at not eating the processed food. So if it comes in a bag or a box, try not to eat those. And over time, your body will go into what's called ketosis, and I've posted about that a few times. When your body is using ketones, one, it's the primary fuel for your brain. Two, it will help workouts, and three, it will help you to move along as far as your weight loss, because your body is going to start tapping into its fat stores. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to count calories. You want to eat when you're hungry, but I would eat, until you're full. Don't stuff yourself. That was weird. I dropped my phone. Eat till you're hungry. Eat till you're full, but not, don't wait until you're starving per se. Don't trust the products in the stores that are labeled as low carb, because we obviously know there's a lot of marketing that goes into those, and low carb doesn't always mean low carb. So you want to learn how to read the labels. You want to look at the carbohydrate amounts on those foods, and you want to make sure that you're not, eating hidden carbs or hidden sugars, as it were. And you want to plan your diet in advance, which is really hard for me, because I don't do that. And when you don't plan your diet, then you're going to be prone to whatever's laying around, which most of the time probably is a processed food. So Maria, who's a friend and wonderful person, just asked, what about the fat being hard on the liver? Which is true. Initially, when you increase your fat consumption, you might notice that you have kind of an upset stomach or loose stools, and that's because the fat has to learn how to, or shift over to, instead of using glycogen, which is a sugar store, into using fat stores. So initially those fats might still be in the intestinal system, and that might cause some GI distress. So you want to kind of ease into it, just like if you're not a vegetable eater right off the bat and you start eating all those vegetables, you might notice that you are the extra fiber is not agreeing with you as well. But that will change over time. So just kind of ease yourself into things, and try to keep yourself motivated. Use rewards. Some people will use a cheat meal maybe once during the week if they really want pizza or ice cream or something, and that's fine. But that little meal will also probably take you out of ketosis, which will shift you back into that fat storing and out of the fat burning modality. So I think you have to, it will happen over time. If you want to do a cheat meal in the beginning because it's easier and it's something to look forward to, great. But I think this is also more of a lifestyle change than just, a diet. And, nobody knows that more than I do. I can't stand dieting. I've probably done everything under the sun. But for the last month or so, I've been doing this, and it's harder to stay in ketosis. So, I posted a couple times, I've been adding a drink called Keto OS that is the only product on the market that will actually put you into ketosis for a couple of hours after you drink the uh, beta hydroxybutyrate, which it tastes pretty good, a little bit bitter, but for the most part, you can test your urine afterwards. You're still in ketosis, which will help you even more into that fat burning stage. So you want to just also drink tons and tons of water, at least 8 to 10 cups a day. Um, if you were to just go, Jenny, if you were to just go into regular ketosis through your diet, like if you were going to do Atkins or if you were going to do South Beach or one of those low carb diets, it's probably going to take you a good 5 to 7 days to really get your body into ketosis, which for a lot of people is really frustrating because by that fifth or seventh day, you're also ready to eat carbs again and you don't see the benefits right off the bat. So what happens is you can try the Keto OS drinks because it will get you into ketosis a little bit faster. But for the most part, like I said, it's a lifestyle thing. It's not just, I'm going to pick this up for a few weeks, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Over, a 6-month period, you will definitely lose some weight and you'll hold on to that muscle mass. So you'll burn those calories while you're sitting around or you'll burn extra calories. And obviously, to institute this with some sort of a weightlifting program or some cardio, I wouldn't, I'm not a firm believer in going extra heavy on long distance type cardios. High intensity interval training or HIIT training is much better, where you're doing high bursts of exercise for short amounts of time. You're going to burn more calories. You're going to build more muscle. So over time, you've got to just do this one day at a time. Plan your meals ahead. Don't count your calories. I think it's hard to do that. And then watch out for things that say low fat or fat free, because in order to make those products taste good, they chock them full of sugar. So as far as a ketosis way of eating, as an example, usually when you wake up fasting, that's a great time to, your body's already priming itself for ketosis because you've been fasting overnight. So trying to not eat the typical American breakfast, Cheerios, juice, toast, all of that is carbohydrates, all of that is sugar, especially the juice, which in my opinion is public enemy number one. Because juices are just loaded with sugar. Instead of drinking the juice, eat the fruit because you also get the fiber with it, which will help the glycemic index. But if you just had like eggs, you could have a little cheese on there or some salsa. Make sure you're looking at the label on the salsa to make sure there isn't sugar in it. For snacks, if it is something you wanted to snack in the afternoon, you can certainly have some beef jerky, or you can have an apple with some peanut butter, as long as the peanut butter is natural, because in the regular peanut butters they add sugar. That's why they taste good. So you just want to keep an eye on those. And then for lunch, a lean protein like a chicken breast with some salad. Dressing wise, again, you're going to want to just make sure that the dressings don't have added sugar. Some folks that have gluten sensitivities, even your fattier dressings like ranch have gluten in them sometimes, so you have to watch that. Vinegar and oil. Some people are super strict with balsamic vinegar because they say that it's basically sugar. I'm Italian. I like balsamic vinegar. I'm going to use it. I like it. Obviously, all the spices are fine to use. Sometimes I'll put a hamburger patty on my salad, or I'll use eggs, and sometimes I'll take out the yolks on the eggs. There's more protein there, obviously, and it's filling as well. But the other thing about increasing fat intake is that it is more filling than eating carbs, because with the carbs, you're going to get the sugar increase, then you're going to get the sugar drop, and you're going to feel hungry again, if not headaches and just feeling kind of blah in general. Whereas living in ketosis, you feel more stable, more energized. Usually you sleep better, your workouts are better. And then for dinner in the evening, um, yeah, you have to hang on to your balsamic vinegar. I mean, you got to do something, right? Now, obviously, balsamic vinegars, I just bought one off topic, and it's like syrup. Now, obviously, that one's going to have a lot more sugar in it than the ones that are a little more runny. It's just more concentrated and more reduced, and those reductions will increase your sugars. But, it's not like I'm drinking it all day long. So I think, within reason. And dinner, obviously, I'm a bad chooser. If I'm left to my own devices, I will usually choose poorly. So luckily, my spouse is really wonderful. Dr. Katie Lander, she is great at planning meals. She helps me out. So I think the main story there is if you have a spouse that's willing to do this with you, it's way more supportive. You'll get somebody that's helping you with your meals. So you've got something like broccoli, you've got, even Brussels sprouts tend to be a vegetable that are higher in carbs, but they've got a lot of fiber in them. Put the butter on them. Don't use margarine. You want to use those natural fats if you're going to use fat. And try not to snack at night. I'm a firm believer in trying not to eat after 8 p.m., although that's a wonderful time to eat. If I'm going to eat at 8, I try to just stay away from a sugar, and I'll have some beef jerky or something along those lines that's just a pure protein. But even in the jerkies, obviously with teriyaki, it's pure sugar. So you're going to want to look at the labels on the back side of that. So just wanted to kind of bring in, I'm going to start talking about these biohacks, things you can do to either kickstart a weight loss program, work out better. Obviously, I'm doing this myself because I gotta walk the walk and I gotta walk the talk. And so I'm gonna start doing these things on my own. I've been doing the ketosis now for about 3 to 4 weeks. And like I said, the fat loss is pretty substantial, but you're hanging on to your muscle. So if you don't necessarily see a lot of scale change, be more in tune with your waistline and how your clothes fit, because you're not going to be losing a ton of muscle, so the weight loss might be a little bit slower, and it's just going to be easier to keep that mindset if you're not worried about the scale. Interesting story. I stepped on the scale. I hadn't weighed in about 3-4 weeks, and I was down an extra 10 pounds. So I was all excited. I thought it was really strange because I didn't necessarily feel like I was 10 pounds lighter. So I weighed in the next day, and it was 8 pounds heavier. So I have no idea what happened. For that one day, I was particularly excited, but I should be happy anyways because I'm eating better. My cholesterol is going to go down. Even though I'm eating higher in fats, they're good fats, which is going to help drive down your cholesterol. And actually, most research says that your cholesterol goes higher because of your carbohydrate consumption. So keep tuning in. I'll be bringing in more biohacks probably once or twice a week, and I'm going to be doing all this stuff with y'all. So keep advised. If you want any information on the Keto OS drinks, go ahead and make a comment, or you can message me. I am connecting with patients now with a new app called Medici. It's Medici. You can get it at the Apple Store and download it. It is a way to keep in touch with a HIPAA-compliant program. If you don't have time to call the office, we can print these out and scan them into your chart. Obviously, calling the office would probably be the best, but if you're busy and you just don't have the time because you've got kids pulling at you and you've got all these practices to go to, you can always have contact to me if you need it. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later on, and take care.